So today we are looking at subject-verb agreement errors, and a noun that acts as the subject of an independent clause must agree with the verb. And this means that it's important that we're able to identify our subjects and verbs. So we're going to practice identifying them and then making sure that they agree in number and tense. So this is something that we've been doing our whole lives. We've been working on making sure that our subjects agree with our verbs, and in simple sentences, like this one right here, it is really easy to tell that this is not an agreement. She do not think leaving tomorrow is a good idea. We can immediately tell this verb does not agree with this subject, which is the pronoun she. So, obviously, we would need to change that to does. She does not think leaving tomorrow is a good idea. So, you're wondering, why are we spending time on this? If this is something that we've done our whole lives and we've spent a long time being familiar with which verbs go with which subjects. Well, the problem is that subject-verb agreement gets a lot trickier the further away a subject gets from the verb. So, she, unlike the other teachers in adjunct positions, do not think the curriculum adjustments are necessary. So now identifying our subject and our verb becomes a little bit trickier because there are a lot of other nouns here. But we have to recognize that she is still our subject and our verb is still do. So we have this non-essential interrupter right here. All this extra information between our subject and our verb that we actually don't need to pay attention to. But it sort of acts as a decoy because it sounds like positions do not, and that would sound correct. But our independent clause here, the only necessary bare bones structure without our interrupter, is she do not think the curriculum adjustments are necessary. In which case, we would need to change that to does. So, she, unlike the other teachers in adjunct positions, does not think the curriculum adjustments are necessary. That would be our correct sentence. So, let's look at this in another question where we see the subject being a bit further away from our verb again. As the potter takes bricks away to create an opening into the oven, an expanding view of gleaming shapes rewards the artist for months of hard work. Now, our verb that we're being asked to look at here is rewards because it's underlined. And we see our options right here. We can keep it rewarding, reward as a reward for. So what is reward supposed to be agreeing with over here? Well, what is rewarding the artist an expanding view is? So this modifier is just telling us what kind of view it is. So an expanding view rewards the artist for months of hard work. So our correct answer here is no change. And we see that our bare bones sentence is an expanding view rewards the artist. We actually don't need to be looking at any of this right here, or right here, or right here. So we're starting to see how subject-verb agreement becomes a lot trickier the more complex a sentence is. So let's look at one more. Smaller mosaic panels, much like those from Spain and Portugal, depicts lovers telling one another goodbye before war. So again, we see that we have this interrupter here, right here, and right here. And so depicts, our verb, is agreeing with panels. So smaller mosaic is telling us what kind of panels these are. But the panels depicts lovers telling one another goodbye before war. We can see that doesn't agree. Panels is plural. So you would say, if we're trying to replace it with a pronoun that might make it easier, we could put they. Would we say they depicts? No, of course not. We'd say they depict. So depict would be our correct choice here. So again, we've practiced how we do not pay attention to that interrupter when we're trying to find our subject in our verb. So our final one is a little bit different. And this is asking us to look at number again, but we don't have that non-essential interrupter that's a little bit easier to identify because of the commas there. The sentence reads, each member of the 18 departments were expected to participate in the ceremony. We have no change, was going to be, and were going to be. So were is obviously our verb because it's underlined here. That's what we're looking at. That's our action. And then we have to find what our subject is. So we might be looking at our subject as the whole thing, each member of the 18 departments. But our subject is actually singular because each member, so each one. So this is our singular subject. So would we say each member were? No. We would say each member was. So here is a modifier again, just explaining what type of members they are. But each member is singular, therefore we have to use was. So again, subject-verb agreement is really easy in simple sentences, but we need to practice picking out our subject and our verb in the more complex sentences to ensure that we are using the right verb so that they agree in number.